Hello. So this is going to be the first of two videos that I do diving into Tony Robbins' Business Mastery. This first video is just going to be my key insights. It's going to be the biggest insights that I've got from the event. I'm just going to share them with you. I'm just going to fly through them from my book. And then later on, I'm going to do an in-depth analysis of what I thought of the event, the pros and cons, and I'll give you a proper review. So for this, I'm not even going to use this book, because look how big this is. This is a joke. It's huge. So we're not going to be using that. Instead, we're going to be using my little green book that I took some notes in. And I have my key insights that I would like to share with you. So before we dive into those key insights, there's 5 commitments that they make you make at the end that will have a massive, profound impact on your business. So I wanted to share them with you, and hopefully from the insights that I gain, perhaps you can gain insights into your business as well. So one of the main things is to be a business owner, not a business operator. And you've probably heard this before. I've heard this a ton of times. I teach this. However, once again, this is getting a different perspective on what I'm doing. So for me, I run my online coaching practice. I do stuff in China. I have my speaking events. I do workshops. So I do a lot of things. Now, the only issue is that I'm very much in that business. So for me, the biggest transition that I'm making this year is moving from doing all the coaching myself and taking on those clients and building a system for me, and instead building a very sustainable system for my fulfillment artists so that I can gain them clients on a consistent basis. They don't have to worry about marketing. And I basically make a system to take on people from China, from international, and have a system that really works so they gain clients and I just take a cut of what they pay. So for me, that's the biggest thing is being able to move out of the business where it will still run without me and I can still impact more people. So that's number 1. Next is creating an irresistible offer. Now, I've seen irresistible offers on stage. I think that there are a lot of people that don't have congruency and they often sell things that I don't think are correct. However, some of the irresistible offers that they were mentioning make sense. When you get like a 30 days free trial, or you get an opportunity where someone says, look, I will speak to you for free. If I can't save you money, you don't pay a thing. Like for me, that's an irresistible offer. Or someone says, we'll come in, we'll give your team a free training for an hour, no cost to you whatsoever, and if you like it, you can carry on. I think that's a good irresistible offer. So one of the irresistible offers that I wanted to dive into was giving a free coaching session from my fulfillment artist to someone, and then if they enjoy it, then looking into coaching and then having one-on-one with probably a salesperson, or most likely a salesperson, me to begin with, and then once I've made the script, it will be sales. Basically enrolling them in becoming a person that enjoys having a fulfillment artist in their life. So creating that irresistible offer is something that I'm going to be playing around with. I'll tweak it. Watch this space. If for you, in your business, you don't have an offer like this irresistible to someone, then please think about that and how you could apply that irresistible offer, because that way you'll be bringing in leads and they'll be actually trying what you're doing and doing some of the stuff to do with your business, as opposed to just hearing about it and not following through. Okay, next, Keith Cunningham is one of my favorite people on stage. He's absolutely ridiculous. For those of you who've been to a business mastery, his hello, basically it'll all be quiet, no one says anything, and he'll just go, hello. I think it's really funny. You probably don't find that funny. That's okay. All right, so he was diving into creating 3 report cards. So report cards, simply put, are basically your financial your financial sheets in your business. Now, some of the key insights that I got was about profit isn't actually profit. What's more important is understanding your operating cash flow, called OCash. This is basically the cash that you can actually use. So instead of having, someone, you're going to get cash in like a month's time, or you've got lots of inventory. And there's different parts of your business where even though it seems like you're making a lot of profit, you're not being paid yet, or you have the money stored in inventory. So what's most important is understanding your operating cash. This is a fundamental importance for me to understand when I'm investing in business, what I'm looking for, so that I can see and become very aware of the operating cash that people have. And for myself, to understand how do I get more operating cash so that I can reinvest in my business in a very sustainable way. So the 3 report cards are the usual things of a balance sheet, and I can't remember, like an income statement, and your cash, I think it's like a cash flow statement, something like that, basically looking into operating cash flow. So for me, that was very, very fascinating. And I already have tracking in place. However, to be honest, I have the tracking, but I just have, revenue, cost, profit. I know roughly what I'm spending, but I don't really have any metrics, so I can really understand in depth everything. So for me, that's been a pretty fascinating change there. Okay, next, number 4, is about the value chain. So I've never heard of a value chain before. However, this makes a lot of sense to me. And this is, to put it into an analogy, let's say in your business you have, I don't know, a very simple business where someone goes to your shop and they buy a drink, they pay you, and then they take it out, right? So the value chain there is that they go in, they find the drink, and they pay for it, and then they move out. So the value chain could break at different segments. So for example, if the shop isn't open, or there's an issue with the product, or they can't pay because you don't accept cards or something like that. So at each stage there of the value chain, there's going to be a part where it could break down. And I'll give you the example from me so you can see where my value chain broke down in the past. So I had an issue where, as many of you know, I've written an ebook diving into the 7 deadliest patterns of business owners. Now, I would have people go onto the website, download it, click it, type in their email, and then it should be sent to them. But for some reason, some people weren't sent the ebook. Now, this is quite an important thing, because if someone goes to your website and wants an ebook, they need an ebook. So what was happening is there was like a plugin that wasn't installed on the website that I didn't know about, because I should have my website guy check it. However, I assumed that he would always check it. And he said he checks it every couple of weeks. So that means for those 2 weeks, there was just no people receiving ebooks. So then the other issue that happened is that people would email me, but they were emailing an email that I didn't even check. It was like an older email that was at the bottom of the email that I wasn't aware of. So this is how my value chain broke down. So simply put, it's checking in your business at each stage, is the baton being passed as if it was a race, right? Are you receiving the ball and then moving it on? And here, the value chain broke down. So how do I resolve that in a way that moves it forward? So speaking with my website guy, I'm like, look, you need to check this, every single week at least twice. So now he's checking twice a week just in case it breaks down. Then I've changed the email. So if there's any issues, then it comes straight to me. Now, that value chain has been, I'm aware it was broken, now it's fixed and it's better. So in your business, where in your business is this value chain breaking down where you're not delivering value to the clients? So maybe you're losing clients and customers, and that's something that's a fundamental importance to overcome. So for me, that value chain is really, really important. The last thing from my 5 commitments was optimizing each stage of the funnel. So what I mean by this is they had a very interesting example of, if you have 20% more leads and then you convert them maybe 2% better, and you have an upsell that's 2% higher, and you sort of play around with your figures, it's possible for you to really move your business forward at a really, really amazing rate, purely just from having those small tweaks in optimizing your funnel. So for me, once again, I thought that was a fundamental importance. So some of the other things that were key insights for me is, once again, the thing is I swear I thought I knew what this was, but then I'm getting more insights and I'm starting to understand it more in depth. So one of the ones is your ideal customer. I've heard this time and time again. However, there was some new interesting distinctions is understanding what they need, but actually what they want, and then making sure you give them exactly what they need and asking for feedback, so that you're not giving them something that isn't going to wow them. Another thing that was an insight for me was wowing your clients at every stage of the business. So something that's interesting that I find in Business Mastery is they give you the pack, right? So then you're like, okay, this is the pack. But then they also give handouts. Now they could put all the handouts in the pack, but they don't do that because it seems like, and you perceive it as extra value because you have the pack and now they're giving you something extra. which I thought was quite interesting. So I'm going to see how I can also implement those sorts of things where you still give people what they want, but then there's these extra things so they perceive that there's even more value there, which I thought was quite interesting. Next is that they have 7 different forces of business mastery, and every single week you're meant to go through each 7. Right, so you start, week 1, you do the first one, then the second one. And you can look this up online. They've got like constant innovation. They have optimizing systems. So for me, I think I really like this because for me, I like systems. If I've got a system in place, I will follow it. If there's not a system, I find it more difficult because I need to have a tangible way to see how I'm going to get to the goal. So once again, that's a very interesting insight, and I'm going to start doing that. I'll let you know how I get on with it. All right, some other things. State, being in the right state each day. Whenever I go to a Tony Robbins event, I remember and I'm reminded of how important state is. So that's another share for you. When you're running your business, make sure to manage your state in a way that really helps you move forward. Sorry, my phone ran out of battery there. Okay, the next thing is allocating resources. This is huge for me. This is massive. So I realized that I had no idea where to put a lot of the money that I was making. Because I'm doing well, I've got some systems in place, but I haven't allocated resources in a way where I understand exactly what I'm putting into marketing, exactly what I'm putting elsewhere. And they said that there's only 2 things that you spend money on, and I really think this is quite profound. Number 1, to keep the customers you got. Number 2, get new customers. That's it. That makes more sense to me. So I still haven't done it yet, but I need to allocate the resources that I have and dive into getting new customers as well as keeping the ones that I got to move things forward. So how are you allocating resources in your business at the moment? Are you aware, or do you think it should be worth you thinking exactly where you're going to spend money and invest and looking for that return? All right, other things is deciding roles and standards for your employees. For myself, I realized that the standards that I've placed for people that work for me are not that great. I've been quite relaxed, and I trust them to get it done. And I don't think I have the right things in place to make sure that things get consistently done and for them to get consistently better. And one of the things that they were mentioning is how you should hire someone for the role you need in 2 years, and they get the skills for that role, as opposed to hiring for the role you have now. That's cool. So that is something else that I'm definitely going to be diving into. All right, I would say that is pretty much the main thing for me. Those are my key insights. Focusing on the one thing, building that system is very important. I hope you found this video helpful. Comment if you've got any questions, and I will be doing a full in-depth review of this bad boy in the next couple of months. Stay tuned.